Hey, Alina.
Hi.
Hey, guys. So this is the second episode of our series, Life in Lockdown. This time with Alina, my friend since forever and forever. She's now living in Iceland. She's been living there before. She traveled a lot. She's back in Iceland now, and she is now stuck in the lockdown in Iceland. And she can tell us more about it. Hey, Alina. So we can start by talking about like the general vibe. What's it like in Iceland? I mean, Iceland is such an isolated country anyway. So what does it feel like now?
Well, this is the thing. It's such an isolated country. However, things got from bad to worse really fast, as it actually happened probably all around. But the cases actually, like, people started tested positive, like, I think in the beginning of March, it was like 2nd or 3rd of March or something like that. And in the beginning, it was 25 people who came from northern Italy from a trip, like they went skiing somewhere in the northern Italy. And fast forward now, which is 22nd of March, so let's say 20 days later, they have 473 cases.
Yeah.
And that's a lot for a population of 370,000, like the whole country. That's a lot. I think percentage wise, it's the biggest in Europe.
Ratio. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest. Yeah, I think it's, so that's
Wow.
crazy. However, now it's really weird because you were saying that we are in a lockdown. We are not necessarily in a lockdown, as other people are closing their borders to us. Like, it's more like that. So United States put us in the list of countries that are not allowed to go to United States for the time being. And we are finally joining the lockdown. So, of course, for people who doesn't know, Iceland is not in EU, but it is in Schengen area. So when
Right.
the lockdown regarding EU came in place, we, like, Icelandic government, tried to make EU understand it's not okay for us to be in a lockdown because we are isolated as we are. And we have a lot of imports coming in because it's a volcanic island, it's middle of the winter, nothing grows
Nothing
here
grows
and so
there,
on.
right?
Yeah. But then they decided that they are going to join the Schengen area as well. So now we are not allowing people outside of EU or Schengen area either. So we are trying to do like that. However, I don't see necessarily, other than the fact that there are no more tourists, because especially in downtown area, it was filled with tourists all day long.
Right.
So now there are no more tourists, so the streets are empty. Um, but in shops, I didn't see anything, like, not like there will be food and anything you want in shops. Um, I've since for the last week, I went outside of my house twice just to go to do some grocery shopping and coming back. Um, so it wasn't basically, there's nothing different because this area where I live is not that populated to begin with. So there's nothing different for me to see. I just see there's like a walking path just in front of my window, and I still see people running, and I'm like, that's good to exercise. Since there are no people around, tell them that that's okay.
So people are taking it kind of seriously, though. They're not like really gathering. They don't doing public gatherings or
They
anything.
do and they don't. And I'm gonna say that because from the government, they did not close kindergartens because
Okay.
they are saying almost every Icelander has kids, and that would be like really bad. I understood that a lot of Icelanders are working from home,
Okay.
for whoever is able to do that. But what was surprising, the pools, again, pools, like going to the pool is one of the most famous passing time here in Iceland because they have the warm pools and so on, and the hot pools. So they were closed for one day, and then they opened it again, and then they were saying you can stay like two people at at a time in a hot pot, for example. I really don't know if there was any kind of statistics or anything like that regarding how the virus reacts when you are in hot water and so on. But personally, I'm like, I'm not gonna go to the pool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
wouldn't
trust
feel
that.
comfortable either. Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't close that. Like it doesn't make sense to me. And they even they put in place this thing in which people are not allowed to gather more than 100 people. But honestly, for a city so small and for a country this small, 100 is a
It's a
lot.
lot. It's a lot. Yeah,
It's
it's
like
a
a
bit
lot.
much.
So on one hand, I think people in general are kind of taking things a bit seriously. I don't think that the government is taking it as seriously as it should. If in 20 days they went from 25 cases to 473, that's a lot. And we had also one person who died. He was Australian.
Living
So
there.
I don't know if he was living there or not. I just know that that happened somewhere in the north of the country. As you
Mhm.
can imagine, the majority of the cases are in the capital, in Reykjavik, where I live. But I don't know if he was traveling. I think he was just a traveler. I don't think he was living there. His wife also was tested positive. Um, and it was really nice when this happened. A lot of Icelanders sent their regards to her. It was like
Mm.
the whole country felt for them, and they kind of felt responsible that a
Right.
foreigner died because Icelanders brought. It wasn't necessarily their fault because they went abroad. They were allowed to come back, and they were supposed to stay in quarantine.
Did
I don't know
they?
how much they did, or well,
Okay.
they did, but for example, I read in the news, and this is something else, reading in the news. Remind me to tell you what I meant by that. I read in the news that when it started to be really bad, end of February, exactly when I moved back to Iceland, hello, when it started to be to be really bad, they had like special buses for people coming from Italy, kind of like to, if they were in the same plane, to put them together in the same bus and then to drive them
Right.
home.
For transfer. Right.
Yeah. However, I understood from the news that some Icelanders decided to take a taxi. And what happened is the taxi driver got sick. And
Hmm.
because of that, he got sick other people as well.
Right.
And this is something that you simply can't even, like, really, are you that, like, you're going to
Very
be, I don't
responsible.
want, yeah, I don't feel the need to wait for the bus. I'm just going to take a taxi.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's, yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's super responsible, yeah, and it's all over the world. In many countries, people are like, I'm not sick, I'm not showing symptoms. Why stay in? Why do I have to stay in the house?
So that's the scariest, like honestly, when it comes to horror movies, the scariest for me, it's not the bloody ones and so on. It's the one when something is following you and you don't know what. Those are the most scary things for me. So this is the scariest part for me. The fact that you might have the virus, but you don't have any symptoms, that's really scary. For me at least.
Right, yeah, and you don't know who else is in the same situation. Like your housemate, they can just be sick and not show any signs of it. So, um, yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
just to, if I can make the point that I wanted to say
sure.
about reading the news, this is the thing. So I live in Iceland. I do not speak the language. Uh, Luckily, there's almost everyone speaks English here and so on. However, there are very few um, outside of the official website that was made in order to inform people who is that is translated in English and Polish. There are few news outlets out there that are just written in English. So the majority of the news, of course, are in Icelandic, and I'm
Mm.
using Google Translate to translate. So I feel a little bit like, for example, I keep reading the news in which is translated crown virus. So I don't know how to trust the rest of the translation.
Yeah, so for you, that's also an issue, right? To just really get
Yeah,
informed, because everybody says like only get informed from official sources, don't trust the fake news, and you're like, yeah, but I don't really understand the official
because
sources.
it's like You know, you've been an Erasmus student as well. You know, when you have this moment when you're going into a class and they're teaching it in their native language, and then you're just making a sum up for you. I remember when I was in Turkey, like the teacher was talking for like half an hour in Turkish, and then she would tell me in 5 minutes, and I'm like, but that's how am I gonna learn?
I'm sure that's not everything you told them. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the same how I'm feeling right now. It's just like a sum up of the things, and I'm like, yeah, but what about the other things? Like I'm not being informed, and I know it's my fault. I don't know Icelandic. That's on me. But still, I'm not the only
Right.
one in this that lives here. I don't remember who said. Oh yeah. So in one of the I touched my face. Uh, one of the one of the news outlets that I'm watching that they are speaking in English, they have like a YouTube channel which they have like a summing up the day, and they were saying something that it's like how Iceland looks right now. It's how it looked like in 2008 or 2009 before the boom of tourism going like crazy high up. So for them, it's like, oh, I remember these times. The government in Iceland, they are saying that they have been through a economic crisis, and it was as bad as it was in Greece. And they survived that. So somehow they feel that they are a little bit more prepared. So it is a really big hit to their economy, but they are confident that they've learned something from their past experiences when they went through an economic crisis. And this is why, at least from what I'm reading, they are not that panicked. They are like trying to manage it because they already been there. So they already should know how some things could work.
That's good. I mean, yeah, if they manage to learn something and to take the right measures in time, that is probably gonna help a lot because yeah,
I
like
mean,
economy is vulnerable everywhere right now.
in theory, isn't that what you want from your government? In theory,
Yeah.
like to learn from the mistakes, isn't
Yeah.
that what you want?
Yeah,
So
it's
if
true.
that works out,
It's true. We don't even expect them to not make mistakes. We just expect them like, hey, if you did this once, like maybe you learn something from it and not do it again or be prepared when it happens again. Have they canceled any flights between, well, Iceland and the rest of the world?
yes, before the United States closing their borders on us, so before that happened, they decided to close flights from Spain, from Italy, and I think from Switzerland as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were trying to cover the Alps and then in Spain as well, some areas, and they were just uh, trying to have planes for Icelanders who were trying to come back home.
Right.
Because this is the thing. Outside of some boats, I think there are boats going like 3 times a week. There's no other way to come to Iceland. So if you close down the airport, people are not going to be able to come here at all. So it's
Right.
not
Right.
like, you know, how it is on a mainland that people can be like, okay, I can drive and then I can wait in line 1 million hours, but then I can still get there. No, like if they don't fly here, then how good are you with swimming? I don't know.
That is probably a good thing because at least then it's, yeah, like if we're canceling flights, nobody can get in, only we have control over who gets in and who gets out, so that's probably good for quarantine. But in that sense, like you mentioned that there are no more tourists and it makes sense, but how is the economy coping? I mean, Iceland is is big with tourism, and other than that there's not a lot of, well, income for the country. So how is that going on? How is that happening now?
So officially, it is said that 40%, 40% of the economy of the country is based on tourism. So tourism is kind of shut down at the moment. I understood that hotels are being closed down. Now, I don't know if the hotels that are being closed down are part of a chain. So, for example, within the chain, they have like 5 hotels and they're deciding to close like 3 of them. I'm not sure. I just know that hotels are closing down, souvenir shops are closing down. And when I'm saying closing down, some of them have decided to close it for at least 1 month. But what's surprising is that some hotels decided to close for the entire summer. And summer is the best time for tourists to come here. So to decide now that you're going to close the hotel for over the summer as well, I think things are really, really, really serious. This is again the part which I don't understand with the numbers and the budget and so on regarding, I mean, reading the news in Icelandic and reading them in English, because there have been some decisions that were taken place. For example, a lot of people are going to be sent from from full-time job to half-time job. And if that happens, they are trying to make an like emergency law, I don't know how to say it, in which if that happens, so if you used to work full-time and then you're working half-time, your employer is going to pay you 50%, and then the state is going to add 30 more percent, so that you work half-time and you get 80% salary. Also, I don't know if this law was actually implemented or it's just a conversation about it. Again, this is why I could talk with my Icelandic friends, but I'm like, everybody's so overwhelmed. I just don't want to be like, hey, can you also translate this for me, please?
Right.
Because technically it doesn't affect me. And it doesn't affect me because guess what? I'm with no job at the moment. So I have no job, no salary, so nothing, none of this applied to me at the moment. So it's not going to affect me that way. It's just affecting me because I used to work in tourism. And tourism is shutting down, so I have no job at the moment, which is not a good thing to have. 1 month ago, it was declared the most expensive country in Europe.
Well, shit, yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise for me because, yeah, we've spoken about it, but it is a tough spot to be in for sure.
I know, for example, because I applied. So when I arrived in Iceland, I applied even for summer jobs. And I was like, even if I have something more in the summer, it's still going to be okay. And I got a few emails in which I was announced that they need to reconsider their hiring process. So they are going to let me know if they are still going to hire. And yeah, so I don't know if anyone is being fired. I know for sure nobody's hiring at the moment. except it seems that they were hiring in shops that they do deliveries, and or they were, of course, like pizza places that they do deliveries. I'm guessing a lot of people are gonna be locked down and
just ordering food.
all the pizza possible. But I think, unfortunately for me, I think you need to speak Icelandic for those jobs, or they would rather prefer people who can speak Icelandic.
Right.
Which I don't, so I don't quite qualify for that.
Oh, well, we can only hope the situation is going to get better as soon as possible in a few months. So is the general vibe, are people scared? Are people kind of, I don't know, like distancing from each other in all ways? Like, I don't know, how do you feel the country changing in that way?
Yeah, so last time when I went to do my grocery shopping, the thing is that I'm doing my grocery shopping once a week because also I'm just one person and I cannot carry as much. I don't have a car. It's like in the middle of the winter. I'm not gonna bike. So it's like, this is why I'm doing this once per week because I can't carry more than my food per week. I just can't. However, last time when I went, it was on Friday, today being Sunday. We were on a path. In order for me to get from my place to the closest grocery shop place is like I have to go through a park. So it was like a pathway, and I saw a person coming my way. When we got one to each other, we went like this. And we looked at each other and we just smiled, and that was it. But what was interesting, in the shop, I saw a lot of Icelanders having not necessarily masks, as they had gloves, like surgical gloves.
Okay. So they don't touch all the products.
Yeah. So what I do is they did put this, and this was really fast, and they moved really fast with this. In all the shops, they had sanitizers. Like, it doesn't matter with the type of shop. So when you get into into the shop, there's a machine that you can put. So what I do is I do that, and I clean the handle for
Mm-hmm.
the trolley,
Yeah, good
and
idea.
then I go to the shop, I buy whatever I need, and then before going out, I'm also cleaning again my hands, and then I'm going out. So that's my way, and I'm trying so hard not to touch my face during like being while I'm being in the shop.
Oh God, oh
I'm
that
trying
is
so.
that is the most difficult thing for me as well. Like ever since I started being conscious about it, I realized I touch my face all the time. I like fix my glasses, I touch my hair. I like it's tough.
So I keep seeing all over the internet when people are saying don't panic, and I'm strongly, strongly against that, against the idea of like not panicking. Ever since I went to therapy some years ago, I've learned one thing, or more than one thing, but one thing for sure is don't panic if you panic. So what I mean by that is we are now in a place that we've never been before. We don't know what's going to come. We don't know when the things are going to change for better. We don't know those things. And if everybody's telling you don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, and you are panicking, you are scared, you are going to be adding more, more, more to that panic because everybody around you is telling you don't panic. So I'm strongly against this idea, and I think you should just don't panic if you panic. If you do panic, that's okay. That's your normal response to the situation we are all in. It's just your body telling you that it's trying to protect you.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it's okay to panic. Just don't panic if you panic.
Right, don't add to the stress. And one last question, since well, it was your birthday as well. Like Bushan also has a birthday soon, and Alina had a birthday 2 days ago. Happy belated birthday.
Yeah,
How
thank
was
you.
celebrating your birthday? Well, inside and in isolation, I guess.
Well, the only thing that really bothered me it was the weather because it was a really bad storm, really windy, and it was raining over the over the snow. So it was looking horribly. However, I have to say that for the past, I don't know how many years, I lost count. I've made a point that for my birthday, I'm going to travel. So last year I was in Cyprus. The year before, I was actually traveling through South America. So I was in Atacama Desert. The year before, I was in Iceland, but then I decided to go on an island. So I've always made a whole point to do something special for my birthday, to do something like that. So now I was like, it's okay one day to actually just like 1 year to actually just stay in. And honestly, I read something that it was hilarious on the internet, and it was, has anyone checked on extroverts? Because I'm an introvert. So I'm okay with staying by myself in my room. It's okay. I have books. I have, not that I'm reading a lot. Okay, I don't want to look that smart. But I have books. I have movies. I can play video games. I can talk with my friends. I'm good. I can be like this for years. I'm not even kidding right now. I'm good. So yeah, my birthday wasn't that bad. It's just the weather that bothered me.
Thank you so much, Alina, for giving us like a live testimony from Iceland. I hope, well, I hope things are going to get better soon and you'll be able to find a job. And until then, just hold on, carry on, and be strong there.
If
And
anyone is watching, I can do things like I can do a lot of stuff. If anyone is watching from Iceland, I'm like, I was like, I don't know, man, do you need me to carry the garbage? I'm gonna do it. Just give me a job.
walking the dogs can still be walked outside and they still need to. So yeah, that's also
True.
something. But yes, Alina is very, very skilled. I can vouch for her and give recommendations if needed. Um, so yeah, until then, I guess we'll keep working from home as much as we can. And take care, stay safe, and talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you, and also take care.
All right. Bye, Alina.